A year ago from today, I came out that I struggle with an eating disorder. Through time, my diagnosis has changed as I bounce from behavior to behavior. April this year would be 1 year since I was admitted into intensive outpatient program treatment for a typical anorexia nervosa. The typical part of this diagnosis is a bit problematic because literally the only thing keeping someone from being diagnosed with anorexia nervosa is being underweight. Many people, myself included, can feel that they aren't sick enough, that their eating disorder isn't as severe as those underweight. I am here to say that any eating disorder is just as serious, and it doesn't matter about gender, race, ethnicity, and especially different body types. I'm going to share with you my journey with my ED today. In the beginning, I'll admit, it was my friend. My ED would be there for me whenever I'd feel alone, sad, or disoriented. It was my way of coping and not dealing with the outside world. But although a good friend at one point, this disorder made me isolate from my friends, family. It even made me stop going to school and made me lose my motivation for everything, even my will to live. I can admit this now, as opposed to living in denial and romanticizing my disorder as my best friend that helped me cope with challenges I didn't want to face. For most of us who struggle with an ED, it's hard to tell this friend, who is our only means of survival, that they are causing us harm and malnourishment, that they are physically hurting us. Every eating disorder is a coping mechanism, and each serves a different function. And once it fulfills its purpose, it does not tend to leave. It convinces you that you are worthless and that you need them in order to survive. The peak of my disorder took a physical toll on me. My eating disorder did more damage than good, and it always will, and that's something I have to remember. My eating disorder convinced me that I was not liked, that my own existence was a burden to others. I wanted to shrink both physically and emotionally. I began to talk less, exist less, and I was convinced that I was undeserving of love, existing, and eating. I never realized what I was doing was a problem. I was diagnosed with bulimia nervosa before my anorexia, and I didn't realize what I was doing then. But with these new behaviors, I couldn't see that what I was doing was not only causing harm to myself, but was causing harm to people around me. Even being admitted to an IOP, intensive outpatient program, I went in knowing that I didn't have a problem. It wasn't until I reached the weight I promised my best friend I would stop at until I realized I did have one. I remember breaking down and crying. 6 months of treatment was intense, and although it was the toughest months of my life, I don't regret it one bit. I got to share intimate moments with other folks and learned that this disorder wasn't about the food. You can't tell a person with an eating disorder to just eat or to just not throw up their food. You can't tell them that they don't look like they have an eating disorder. With this disorder comes insecurities of whether or not being sick enough for your disorder to be valid. Within the eating disorder realm, it's considered a white people disorder, and I'm here to say again that this can affect anyone, despite your race, gender, or body size. If you're someone struggling with this, I'm here to validate what you're going through. Any eating disorder is just as serious and severe as the next. With this, I want to create awareness among the people who do not know, and within those who are struggling. I want to shed light on this disorder and let people know that it's real. It's out there and it affects lives. I won't end this on a fake bright note. I do struggle every day, despite the 6 months of treatment that I received. Every week is a new battle. Relapses happen, I mess up sometimes. Some days are tougher than others. It's okay to not be okay. Allow yourself to fall back sometimes. It's part of the process. And one thing to remember is that recovery isn't linear. I deserve to exist. I am valid. I deserve to eat. Food is not the enemy. I am deserving of taking up space. And I'm just as wonderful as every single one of you.